Hello, my lovely audience. This is take fucking 5, I guess. Anyways, yeah, let's get into this. So, I'm gonna just sum it up. We last left off with the USJ notes, the sports festival, and what ends up happening here is this. Deku, basically, at the sports festival I'm gonna get through this as fast as I can because I'm pissed because I've been trying to do this, but so many things keep interrupting, so I'm just gonna fucking try my best here. Anyways, this is what Deku's gonna be wearing at the sports festival, and let's get into this forever now. God damn it. Alright. So, at the sports festival, the speech that is going to be given is Deku's going to be giving out a speech that's basically saying that he, or him, Bakugo, and Todoroki have the only chance of standing to win. And for what ends up happening here for the race, well, Deku basically teleports right into the stadium. Not that flashy, just walks instead of runs, and basically disappears in that huge crowd. And, well, what ends up happening here next is this. Someone spots him out from the crowd. One of the crowd members spot him out and basically say that it's one of the kids that made it back. And Aizawa then goes on how he basically explaining that they don't really understand his quirk, but basically he's able to control certain things, or basically everything. So yeah, fun. And for what ends up happening next is this: the cavalry battle, which Kirishima is going to be the front horseman, while Bakugo is going to be on the right, and Kaminari is on the left, and Deki's on top. And for what ends up happening next is very simple. Very simple indeed. I'm going to say that basically what happens is Deku is going to be... let's see. Well, anyone that comes near him go sinking into the ground and losing because they're touching the ground. So, technically that works, right? That works, right? Mud magic, it's fun. Anyways, what ends up happening next is battle against Shinso and Deku. Deku learns about what Shinso's quirk is and how it activates, and immediately comes up with a very simple solution. Snaps his fingers, and Shinso slides into the ground almost instantly, covering his mouth and whole body, except his eyes and ears and nose. And they basically have a hard time getting him out. But they get him out nonetheless. And what ends up happening next is very simple. Endeavor's going to go up to Deku, trying to ask him, can you please make my son use his quirk? Please. Not really in that order, but you know what I mean. Endeavor's way of saying please. Anyways, what ends up happening next is very simple. Basically, Deku is going to be using a penance stare by pouring hot water on his eyes and, casting a spell under his breath, and basically, using a penance stare. And it adds a twist because he feels this amount of pain that he's inflicted, it's cranked up to 100 times, and he passes out from all the pain all over his body. Yeah, that's fun. Anyways, what ends up happening next is, it is going to be the 1v1 battle with Deku and Todoroki. Also, I should mention this in the beginning. I'm going to be taking a hiatus until March 10th because 1, it's my birthday tomorrow. 2, I just need a break from shit that's happened last week on Valentine's Day and so on. So, yeah, I just need a fucking break. Really bad one. A lot of shit's been happening. But I'm going to be coming back with a lot of updates and all that stuff like I always do. But yeah, so let's get into this. So Deku is going to be, he's going to be doing something very fun to Todoroki. As in, basically smoking a cigarette when he comes out and flicks it on the ground and crushes it just to put it out. And, what ends up happening next is very simple. Deku, being the badass John Constantine HellBlazer self he is, starts pissing off Todoroki. And Todoroki's waiting for him to make the first move because he knows that if he strikes him with anything, he's just going to deflect it right back at him. So, smart plan, but it's not going to work. So he starts pissing him off until Todoroki uses his ice to try and shut him up. And Deku just completely hits him with kind of a bit of a wind pressure that kind of strikes like a bullet, going through the ice and completely shattering it all, and hitting Todoroki back a bit. And basically Deku says you wouldn't have that problem right there. That wouldn't affect you too much if you used your fire side. Come on, use your fire side. It's your quirk after all. I don't really see the problem here. And basically, Todoroki says, well, fine. You want to see my fire side? And he's getting really pissed off, which we don't see a lot of. And what ends up happening here is this. He uses his fire side full blunt. And that's when Deku takes that fire and shoots it back at Todoroki, who blocks with ice, but not enough to actually prevent him from, not moving. Basically so much force that it just sends him out of the ring and disqualifies him. And everyone in the crowd is kind of just like booing at Deku winning because they're not liking the fact that he smoked a cigarette and also just beat him by using everything around him. But what ends up happening next is this. Deku versus Bakugo. And that's when something very interesting happens. They promise to only use to not use what they got. Deku won't use his quote-unquote quirk, and Bakugo won't use her quirk. So it's a full-on fist fight. And that's when all that happens, is watching two people battle it out fist by fist. And Deku has pretty much a good upper hand, and what ends up happening here is this. Deku wins because, let's put it this way, right hook right into her face. She kicks him in the balls and punches him a few times in the stomach, while he... she beats him pretty much to a bully pulp. He punches her right in the stomach. And, what ends up happening here is this. Knees her in the face, kicks her in the roundhouse kick. And, basically just it's pretty bad. And a lot of the heroes are kind of like rooting for Bakugo because they want to see a girl kick this motherfucker's ass. And, Deku wins. After one heavy punch right into her face. And what ends up happening is, Deku, he gets to go to a lovely hero agency. Which hero agency, to be exact? It's going to be Endeavor's. Yeah. But here's something fun. So, Deku hears from Beelzebub that one of his classmates is planning to go on a suicide mission to try and get himself killed. And Deku decides to go with Endeavor's agency because Endeavor wanted to know what he did to him because that's some crazy shit. Some mystical shit. Anyways, what ends up happening next is very simple. Deku is going to be going to Endeavor's agency and, kind of doing it again. So... That's better. Anyways, what ends up happening here is this. Endeavor basically wants Deku to try and train his son, and, how do I put this? Also, whose quirk is going to who? Who's getting one for all? That would be Bakugo. Bakugo displayed a impeccable strength, and All Might wants to give it to Bakugo because Deku's way too strong, and making him any stronger would just be very unfair. Anyways, basically what ends up happening here is this. Bakugo is gonna be getting it if Gran Torino says yes and trains her properly. And what ends up happening next is very simple. Deku kind of goes ahead and, does some sparring with Todoroki and trying to help him, use his fire side. And what ends up happening within a few days, Deku may or may not have had a one-night stand with Todoroki, using some charming magic and some stuff like that because Bakugo's not around. So, they've been doing it. Behind the scenes. They were doing it. And for what ends up happening next is very simple. What ends up happening next is, Deku is going to, how do I put this? He's going to be going down to track down Ida. And Stain, for that matter. And he finds Ida about to get his ass kicked by Stain. And what does he do? Snaps his fingers and summons a minor demon to protect Ida and the hero. But doesn't give him any orders on how to deal with Stain. And what does this demon do? Walks up to Stain. Very long and skinny looking. Looks like a skeleton just warped because it just looks yeah. I'll probably post a picture later. I don't know. But it's it's red and it's creepy looking, and it looks fucking terrifying. It looks like it'll haunt your nightmares, and it's got a human-like shape and skeleton, and eyes are red, and looks like it's gonna fuck you up. Because this thing runs at Stain at impeccable speed, and punches his sword because Stain would block, and the sword breaks and punches right into Stain, sending him out in the street, out in the open. And that's when Deku adds some minor gravity magic on Stain to basically weigh him down. And Ida gets to watch as this poor hero killer gets brutally killed by some unknown figure. And, well, basically, how do I put this? The demon basically impales Stain and kills him on the spot. Yeah, like, brutally kills him. Like, very brutally kills him and rips him to shreds and starts eating him. And then walks by a lamppost, and as it walks through, like, by the lamppost, it disappears. And everyone there is freaked out because they're wondering what the fuck just happened. And yeah, the whole Stain Close's case is closed, but they start opening up a case because CCTV footage shows that there was nothing there. He was just being beaten by an invisible entity. And they don't know what the fuck just happened. So there's a case going around about that, and also the Nomu attack. Well, Deku tries to assist them by simply doing one thing. He uses healing magic and heals people up on the spot that are getting badly injured. And yeah. And let's see here. So, he is the only one that gets punished. Deku doesn't get any punishments. And Stain is dead. Yeah. Anyways, when they come back, they got to do that whole pipe training thing where they save All Might. Deku just teleports to him, so simple as that. Like, yeah, anyways, I think I mentioned the hiatus. My mind's racing. And then comes the hero camp. Deku does something very smart here, kinda. Well, basically, he, when they get to the camp, Deku just teleports the whole class there when they start running, as in, like, when they pass the first trees. They immediately teleport past all the golem things, and because those are golems, right? They're made of dirt. They're basically golems, and basically gets past them all and shows up right in front in the training camp. And the Wild Pussycats are wondering, so how the fuck did you get past all those fucking golems? And then they look at Deku and they're like, all right, he got that. He can teleport. Didn't really think he could teleport an entire class, though, so there's that. Oh, and on the bus ride, Bakugo was leaning against Deku. So much fun. Anyways, what ends up happening next is, well, the whole training for Deku is going to be seeing how much he can do, and they kind of want to try and work it out, but they don't really realize it's magic, so yeah. And what ends up happening is, well, there is no way to increase the strength because it's already extremely strong. So they just try and have him cast multitudes of magic while in a fight, but he does that too easily. So they don't really know what to enhance, but they decide, you know what, why not use magic on yourself to make yourself stronger? Gravitational magic can start working out. Simple as that. And, well, he does that, and he starts getting a lot more muscle. Said, why didn't he think of this before? And, yeah. So he does that for a while, and Kota doesn't really kick him the balls because Deku's kind of doing his own thing already. But he does see the kid is kind of cute. And what ends up happening next is very simple. Deku already hears about how that kid has lost his parents to a villain attack. And Deku is pissed off by this. So what ends up happening is this. He decides he's going to come up with a little surprise for Kota for when he's sleeping. And he gives him, well, he's about to give him a dream, but he doesn't realize that this is the day of the villain attack. Lovely. Anyways, so when he's setting up the spell and all that, the villains attack, and yeah, he doesn't have enough time, and then he has to go save Kota and all this fun shit. And what ends up happening here is this. He encounters, he finds Kota very easily because I think it's Mandalay tells him to go find Kota. Yeah, so he goes to find Kota, and immediately what ends up happening here is this. Finds Kota almost immediately because of Beelzebub and immediately teleports to him. And, well, he's lighting a cigarette as he smokes it and sees Muscular, the person that killed his parents. So, what he ends up doing is walking up to Muscular and, well, actually teleporting in front of Kota and saying that he's going to get him out of here. But sees that he's afraid of Muscular and really is scared, like peeing his pants scared kind of thing, like almost about to. So what does he end up doing? Well, basically carries him out in front of Muscular. And he tells Kota a very big secret, kind of, really not really a secret, like he's never really been keeping this a secret as much. And he basically ends up saying this. You know, Kota, I don't really have a quirk. What I've been doing up until now is magic. And there's something I wanted to give you as a gift. And he then says, well, this would be better than that. I'm recording, but...
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wanted to see how your headache was.
That's better now.
Oh, okay. And if you didn't hear me, did you hear
I'm
me?
recording, though.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know you can have the 30 today, because your birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. It's my mother. Didn't really want to have a conversation with my mother while recording. But anyways, it's very simple, right? When you're working, you want to be focused and all that stuff. So, yeah, whatever. Let's get on to this. So, yeah, Deku is going to be, yeah, he's going to be, how do I put it? What is it? Yeah, he's going to give him a better gift. And what that is, well, starts chanting a spell loudly, and Muscular's kind of caught off guard by this. And what ends up happening is very amazing, which is this. His parents walk past Kota. Kota's parents walk past him, and immediately, well, they look at him and smile. And look at it and Muscular and start, well, smiling and ready to kill him. And they start beating the shit out of him. As in completely taking him down and beating him down. And then they go to pick up their son, and they do, and well, they hold him tight and tell them that they'll always be with him and that they're proud of him every day. And that you should start respecting the heroes because they really do want to help you. They really are there for you. And this boy, he may not have a quirk, but he's still a hero. He's still more of a hero than, well, anyone can give him credit for. And they say that, well, don't piss him off, because he's a better ally than an enemy. And Kota looks at Deku. And he's waving. And that's when Kota's parents give him one last big hug and leave him off. And Kota, crying, Deku picks him up, hugs him, and, well, he teleports back to where Mandalay is and hands him off to Mandalay. And then goes to where Bakugo is and finds her dealing with the guy with the teeth, and then basically uses gravity magic to have him sent to the ground. And for what ends up happening next is very simple. For the whole kidnapping thing, Deku sees a better idea on how to get to go find these villains and take care of them. So he basically puts a tracking spell on Bakugo's neck after kissing her openly. Actually, I'm going to say it's on her tongue. And for what ends up happening here is this. She melts in the kiss and then gets kidnapped by Mr. Compress. And yeah. Basically what ends up happening next is very simple. What ends up happening next is Bakugo is kidnapped, Deku didn't do anything, and, well, Deku's going to go out and find Bakugo. I'm going to say that it takes about 3 days this time to find them. Because Deku, well, what does he do? He goes to the little villain bar and simply does this. Well, he simply, how do I put it? Goes in, smoking a cigarette, and blows and, well, lets out the smoke and immediately pushes down the door, where all the villains inside start looking at Deku, ready to fight. And, well, Shigaraki is sent flying into the wall, unable to move. Kirigiri tries to do something, but is sent pinned down to the ground. And, well, what ends up happening here is this. Dabi is about to basically hit him with fire, but then passes towards him by the ear and tells him, "Hello, Toya." And immediately, Toya is about to incinerate Deku, but then all of his fire basically backfires and starts covering him. And he's sent flying into the bar where all the booze is and lights him on fire even more. And he starts trying to get himself on, well, tries to extinguish the flame by, using water. Like, that's gonna work. Anyways. Yeah, so what ends up happening next is very simple. Deku goes ahead and, well, Toga is going to try and cut him. And what ends up happening here is this. Deku basically snaps his fingers and she goes into the ground and cannot get out. And for what ends up happening next is this. I think that's basically, Mr. Compress and, Mr. Compress. Yeah, I guess that's next. And, well, Mr. Compress, well, he gets it by some daily dose of magic. As in, Deku says a very interesting spell that turns him into, well, an animal. And not just any animal, a bunny. And he notices that there's sigils now left on everyone. And, well, what does a guy who's fascinated with magic do? He thinks, this man actually knows magic. What the hell? Is this magic? Is he... Wait. But everybody thinks it's a quirk, right? And he's like, I'm correct. I figured it out. But it's really not. Yeah, a lot of people don't know already. And for what ends up happening next is very simple. What ends up happening next is, well, Deku... Well, let's see here. I'm going to say that he, Let's see. He encounters All For One. And All For One, immediately trying to use his tendrils, hits Deku with them and tries to steal his quirk, but realizes something interesting. He doesn't have a quirk. And that's when Deku hits him. Actually, no, he hasn't hit him with the tendrils yet. I'm going to say that he recognizes him through, being able to see him with the quirk and all that to search and see and shit. And, well, what does he see? He sees the person who saved him all those years ago. And, oh boy, he immediately freezes up. And what does he do? What does Endeavor do? Let's see. Not Endeavor. Offering. Am I saying Endeavor this entire time? My mind is racing. Fuck me. I'm now hitting my hand against something because I'm Jesus. Anyways, All for One. Fuck. And someone's gonna put in the comments, count how many times he said Endeavor instead of this person. Someone's gonna put that in the comments. Alright, All for One. Fuck. I'm tired. Also, I got my PlayStation running in the background because I was going to go play it afterwards doing this what if. Anyways, so what ends up happening next is very simple. All for One is sent flying down the hall and into the door, opening it up. And immediately Deku comes to grab Bakugo, who is very badly beaten. And he picks her up and wakes her up with a kiss, who All for One now sees, oh, fuck, it's his girl. Shit. I beat her to a bloody pulp. And he realizes that he's fucked. And that's when Deku summons a demon. And not just any demon. Same demon that ripped him to shreds. And he says, you remember this guy, right? And Bakugo hasn't. And is very scared. And cowers into Deku's arms. And what ends up happening here's this. Endeavor freezes, still having nightmares of that thing. And what ends up happening here's this. He punches this demon with everything he's got, having the entire building start to collapse. And heroes rush over to where this area is immediately. And what ends up happening here is very simple. Deku, well, he, how do I put this? When Deku makes it to the, let us see. When Deku makes it to the, when he makes it out of the rubble, when everybody else makes it to the, rubble, I would say that All Might gets there and sees All for One, and sees that demon. Remembering said demon, and immediately freezing up as well. And, well, what ends up happening here is simple. The demon crumbles into dust. And that's when All for One and All Might start having a little bit of a fight. And, well, All Might, kind of weakened, basically is about to go ahead and go all out. But, actually, yeah, All for One's about to go all out and punch into All Might. And, well, Deku takes the hit of the tendrils trying to, well, steal All Might's power and all that. And I'm going to say, yeah, nothing happens. But what does happen is Deku's now pissed. So what does he do? Starts openly chanting magic. And sigils start appearing, all that shit, and start hitting All for One. While the villains leave using Kirigiri's quirk and all that, and starting getting the fuck out of there. And, well, let's just put it this way. Deku kind of kicks their asses. Pretty badly. You can tell I'm not really going with too many details here, but, yeah, Deku basically beats the shit out of All for One, and newscopters show up, but can't really see anything because there's some type of interference happening. Probably about the giant sigil appearing in the sky. People are taking photos of that, but can't really seem to get anything. Some people are drawing it instead. And what ends up happening here's this. Some people are speculating on social media platforms. Is that magic? Is that someone's quirk? What is it? Quirk doctors explaining that those can't be quirks. It's whatever it is. It's a phenomenon. And somebody that's a geek would say it's magic. You see similar stuff in mangas and stuff. Blah, blah, blah. And, yeah. That's what's going on social media. But what happened in that fight is All Might learns that it's actually Deku uses magic. Because he questions him after the fight, and All for One is completely fucked. So, yeah. And pretty much everyone learns that he uses magic that's in the school. Because All Might can't keep his mouth shut. And yeah, so what ends up happening next is, well, you're going to find out in the next video because I got to get some shit done and I'm not feeling too good right now. Acid reflux kicking in. Oh, God. There it is. Peace out. Ugh.